Hey everybody, welcome to Films and Fermentation. We are back with episode 49. Tonight is titled Olympic Gold. In this episode, we will be taking a look at some of Hollywood's attempts at capturing the Olympics on film and award some medals for those attempts. We're also going to be drinking as usual. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Make sure you drop us a line at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. Visit us on our social media platforms, and please remember to subscribe, like, leave comments on whatever platform you listen to. Help us build the audience, build the analytics for the show. So let's get right into it the way we always do. Mike, what happened on this day in film history?
In 1924, American swimmer, later turned actor, Johnny Weissmuller set the 100-meter world freestyle record at 57.4 seconds in Miami, Florida.
Yeah, I know Johnny Weissmuller was an actor.
He was Tarzan.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was an Olympic swimmer.
Yes.
What do you think the record? What do you think the record is now? Because I know
They had that human dolphin a couple of years ago.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure he broke the record, right? Phelps?
Yeah.
Michael Phelps, I'm sure, broke the record.
I'm sure he probably shattered it.
He came out of the water and just went. That was his way of exclaiming he enjoyed it.
I was a little jealous of him because he eats like 10,000 calories a day, but then again, he also swims like 8,000 laps.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I mean, the man's torso is a fin. It essentially looks like a fin.
yeah, like I'm pretty sure I consume 10,000 calories a day, but I barely move. Let's see here. 100 meter swimming.
Did you convert that into imperial, measurements for us?
Sure. World record for the 100 meter freestyle is 46.91 seconds.
Okay, so that shaved 11
seconds off of that.
Yeah.
And it is not held by Phelps.
No.
I think. Oh, yeah, it's not held by Phelps. It is held by Cesar Cielo. Michael Phelps' 100 meter freestyle was 1 second slower. Although he does hold the record in like 9,000 other categories, so I guess he can't be too upset.
Mm-hmm.
I like the other fact you got in here, Mike.
I think Mike's frozen.
Mike, let it go.
It's a great smile, too.
I liked it, so I decided to put it on. I don't see frozen this side. There we go. Are we all back together now?
I think we're good.
Okay.
You want to build a snowman?
No, I really don't.
So go for it.
In 2013, at a ceremony in Philadelphia, the NFL paid tribute to the life of the late Steve Sable and his many contributions to the league.
And most of his contributions were through NFL Films. Obviously, he was the president of the company. But one of the things that I remember reading about it was that not only was he like the president of, he was also a client. Not only was he like the president of NFL Films and the creator of it and all that, but like his cameramen came up with styles of filming and angles of filming that were never used before, and that became staples of like films in Hollywood as well. So like, the cinematography they use on NFL films actually influenced a lot of Hollywood films.
On the frozen tundra of
Frozen
Lambeau
tundra.
Field.
No, I love watching the camera that's on the crossbeam above the players over the game.
You see it kind of like zooms in and kind of comes across them. Yeah, it's a really cool. That was, I think, one of the last innovations that that NFL Films came up with before he passed away, because they've been using that for a few seasons now.
Yeah.
I would love to do an episode just on NFL films. Because the NFL films are awesome. They're so good.
They are.
If we could get Ray Didinger on like as a guest.
Who?
Ray Didinger.
Ray Didinger, I'd be awesome. I love Ray Didinger.
Yeah.
Well, we have a little bit of an
Ray Diddy?
Yeah, Ray Diddy. We have a little bit of an in there, Kev. If we ever wanted to, we can get an NFL star to be on the show.
True. That's true. We do have a little bit of an in.
A little bit of an in with good old Mike McGlinchey of the San Francisco 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Adrian does have phone numbers.
Adrian still has the phone numbers of some of the Eagles players. That's why. Yeah.
Former Eagles players.
Former Eagles. The other fact I threw on here at the last second was that on this date in film history, The Burbs, starring Tom Hanks and Carrie Fisher, was released on this date in 1989. And the only reason I bring it up is because after Cooper Kupp won the MVP in the Super Bowl the other day, I realized he looked a lot like Hans Klopek from The Burbs. Burbs is a movie like I didn't really like it much at first, and then it kind of grew on me after I watched it a couple times.
I'd agree with that. I think first of all, it's Tom Hanks in his comedic time when he was still fresh and young and bubbly. But it was interesting. It was an interesting concept. That's one, and Nothing But Trouble is one of those movies that I'll watch and be like, no,
Nothing But Trouble, the one with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy
several
Chase.
Different roles.
Man, that is a weird ass movie.
Isn't that a weird movie?
You gotta one day we should talk about that movie because there's the backstory is even more interesting than the film itself. Like I think it's the only film that Dan Aykroyd ever directed because it was like a passion project of his. And as they were filming it, people were like, "What the fuck is happening here?" And like he kept changing the script, and then the budget kept inflating. I think there's actually a documentary about the making of it.
Is there? I'd be interested.
It's a really, really like it's probably I think the documentary and like the backstory is like more fun than the film itself. Similar to like that documentary about the making of the Island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh yeah,
so much more interesting than the movie because of all the batshit crazy stuff that went on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
What's your fun drink fact tonight, Mike?
Tonight I'm thinking one from the calendar. The classic no-neck pint evolved from a straight-sided glasses that tended to chip or nick when they were washed. No-neck pints feature a bulge near the top of the top that solved the problem, hence no neck. They are used for most beer styles, everything from English bitters, milds, porters, IPAs, and brown ales to Irish stouts and American pale ales. The 20-ounce Imperial Pint was adopted by British Parliament in 1824 and has been used in pubs since 1960s.
That's one of the things when we did the Sam Adams tour up in Boston. Like they made a point of pointing out how their glasses had like that bulge at the top.
Yeah, the bulge.
And it's supposed to the no neck, and it's supposed to like push more of the flavor out as you're drinking it, or something as well. I am not drinking beer tonight, but I am using a similar type glass for that. So, personal note on the choosing of the films for anybody out there that has a question about how we come up with our lists. Between the three of us, I don't think it's a brag. I think it's more of a sad fact that I'm probably the one who has seen the most movies out of everybody here.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Most definitely have probably seen the most movies out of the three of us.
Twinkie.
I love Ghostbusters. I love movies. That's just it's just who I am. And I like watching various kinds of movies. I don't really have like a genre that I stick to. And I have watched some really, really terrible films. I have watched some terrible films on purpose. I have watched some terrible films from accident. I have watched films that are on the par of almost being snuff films, like Human Centipede. I have watched great films like Silence of the Lambs and Unforgiven and West Side Story and things like that. So when I attempt to place films on the list, I try to choose one that at least one of us has seen. Mm-hmm. And I would say 75% of the time, I'm that one person who has seen that film. But I try to choose movies that at least one of the three of us has seen so that it could still be discussed. So a lot of times if there's a movie not on the list, it's a good chance that none of us have seen it. Or it just wasn't interesting enough, I felt like, to put on the list, or we forgot about it, because we do that too. We're human. But yeah, that's just kind of how I chose the movies for this. So you're going to see that like the list for tonight's films is a lot shorter than it normally is, because I can honestly say I have not seen all that many Olympic films.
Well, I feel like that many unless it's documentaries anyway.
Yeah, most of them are documentaries, which I did not put any documentaries on the list. it's a genre of film that like because it falls under sports film, so it's not like like Olympic films have their own genre. And there really wasn't too many out there that I've seen that weren't documentaries. So the short list tonight. So let's talk about last show. Last show we did depressing movies, our special Valentine's Day episode. It's got a decent number of listens so far across all the platforms. I know I listened to it first thing Monday morning when it dropped. I listened to it on my way to work, and I was like, I mean, for an episode about depressing films, I couldn't stop laughing because we were pretty disrespectful to some of the films. And then we were also having our moments of just our typical immaturity, like when it comes to conceiving things with huge beavers. And it was a really fun episode despite the antics behind it. But we did miss some movies that probably could have been thrown on that list. I mean, the list we had was long enough. I think we did 30 movies or something. So I didn't want it to go too crazy.
Like a 2-hour episode.
Yeah, it was close to 2 hours. So we did Saving Private Ryan is one that we missed. I mean, it's pretty depressing. Most of the characters in it, are dead by the end. The Departed, which I think is like, it's kind of depressing, but it's also, a little too much of like an action film to be super depressing. Mm-hmm. Although it does have some surprise, deaths in it that kind of, catch you by surprise there.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first movies I ever really cried at, and it's because I was a kid when I saw it, was My Girl. And it was like the first time I saw a movie where one of the kids in the movie dies, and I'm like, I didn't know you can kill a kid in the movie.
His glasses, he can't see anything.
His glasses, yeah. And I'm like, that's the first time I found out you can die from bee stings too. But I remember My Girl was, it was Macaulay Culkin, and Anna Klumsky was the actress's name. Bridge to Terabithia. It's a more recent film. It's based on a young adult novel. It's one that's been, a little more popular in schools in the last few years. It's about two kids who are both kind of like outsiders in their classrooms, so they befriend each other, and they have this like make-believe land that they go to in the woods that they named Terabithia, where they meet all these like wonderful creatures and stuff. But the story does end with a very unnecessary tragedy. That's all I'm going to say about that. Boys in the Hood. Great movie. A lot of really great acting. It's the first film from Mike Singletary, who actually just passed away a couple years ago. And terrible ending when you think like that kid that was going to be, the superstar football player, pro football player, gets killed senselessly. And it's kind of like the point. It's all about senseless violence. Pan's Labyrinth. Either of you seen this? That's one of the Guillermo del Toro films. Yeah. This movie, like, they didn't advertise it correctly. It was advertised as, this little girl who goes to this fantasy land where she meets this, fawn named Pan and has all these adventures. And then you watch the film and you realize it's depressing as shit. She lives under the rule of like a dictator who's married to her mother, and that guy's off killing people the whole movie. Oh my God, it was one of the most brutal death scenes I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah.
He beats the guy's face in with a bottle. And I'm like, what is this? I thought this was supposed to be a fantasy film. And then you realize the fantasy is just her way of escaping the horror of her reality.
Yeah.
Forrest Gump. Maybe not one we consider depressing at first. And, you kind of think of Bubba Gump or Bubba and Jenny and all that stuff, and how he gets
Lieutenant Dan.
Well, Bubba dies. Lieutenant Dan's in a wheelchair. She dies. Yeah, it's kind of depressing.
His mother dies. He gets stuck with the kid that is his and Jenny's, and
he has to go to China.
He has to go to China and play ping pong. Ping pong.
He runs for what, a year and a half?
As the Chinese call it, ping pong.
He starts running for what, a year and a half or something like that?
I think I'm done now.
You're just stuck in a big pile of shit. It happens.
It happens. Have you ever read the book?
No.
The book that it's based on is severely different from the movie. He curses a lot in the story. Like, he doesn't do that in the film. He has a lot of like, experimentation sexually in the story. There's a chapter where he goes to the moon. He gets like trapped on the spaceship that lands on the moon. And it's a much different story than the film.
Okay.
And then the last one I have on here is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I mean, dude pretty much gets lobotomized at the end.
Yeah.
And then, suffocated with a pillow. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Yeah. So on to something a little more fun.
Now for something completely different.
Yeah. The Doctor Strange trailer.
Holy shit.
So the second trailer dropped for Doctor Strange in the last week. And if you haven't seen it and you're interested in the Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, please check it out, because there were some really interesting little Easter eggs in that in that trailer.
Things just get out of hand.
And it looks like Doctor Strange has as many versions of him as Tom Holland had of himself in No Way Home.
Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if, first off, because Sam Raimi's directing it, if either of the other two Spider-Men might show up again, like Garfield or Maguire. So here are a few things I noticed. All right, Wanda's going to be in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wong's going to be in it. Baron Mordo comes back.
Right.
But we also see different versions of Doctor Strange.
I'm gonna be Doctor Strange.
If you look, if you look closely in the trailer or look at like some like still shots from it, there's alternate versions of Doctor Strange that pop up. There's Defender Strange, which is one where he was part of the Defenders team in the Marvel universe. You see there's a real brief glance of Captain Carter's shield, the British shield. There's a Zombie Strange at one point, or what looks like to be a Zombie Strange. I'm pretty sure I heard the voice of Patrick Stewart at one point in the thing, which has me excited to see maybe some of the mutants show up. There was a Captain Marvel logo at some point in there.
I think it'll actually have tie-ins to the animated What If, because I saw a scene. The scene you see Strange's face cubing. You see an animated shard of glass or something behind him.
Yeah, and I saw some stuff like that too, and I'm like, now I'm looking at a site here that has other Easter eggs. There's some here that I didn't see, and I'd be curious to like rewatch it and see. Like somebody said that they saw some of Ultron's robots in it.
I tell you, one person I did see in it was America Chavez. She's a comic book character. You saw the star on the back of a jacket, like Captain Marvel's. That's America Chavez.
Okay, so she's one of the.
Was she a young Avenger in the comics?
Let me see what I can find out about her. I don't know her very well.
It says that Cyclops.
She's from a utopian parallel universe.
Okay. So somebody said they saw Cyclops in it, MODOK, Juggernaut. Like I didn't see all that stuff in it. I mean, the things I saw were the Shield, the Frankenstrange or Zombie Strange, whatever you want to call them, Defender Strange. Like I've noticed those things. I want to rewatch it again just to see if that it really is Patrick Stewart's voice that I hear in there, because it really sounds.
Yeah. When I first watched it, when I caught it during the Super Bowl, I thought it might have been Magneto, and that wouldn't have been too far off or far fetched if you consider Wanda's in it,
Yeah.
But then when I listened to it again, it was definitely Patrick Stewart and not Ian McKellen.
Kevin, you're correct. She was in the Young Avengers.
She was?
Yes.
Okay. It seems I'm noticing a trend of certain characters popping up in some of the Marvel series.
Yeah,
well,
they're going to go that way.
They're building towards the Young Avengers because you have Kate Bishop now from the Hawkeye series.
Yeah.
You got Elena Belova.
You've got
young Loki from the Loki series.
You also have Wiccan And
yeah, the two kids
Yeah.
from WandaVision,
From WandaVision.
and then the character you just said.
Yep.
And then so like I think they're building up towards like a Young Avengers film at some point.
And they got Miss Marvel coming out in a series not too long from now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just looking at some of the things that they have coming up in the next year.
Oh my god!
Like Wakanda Forever is coming up. The Marvels, like you said, the Multiverse of Madness. So there's a lot of different things on the horizon. MCU is not going away anytime soon.
No.
I thought the Doctor Strange film might introduce us to the Fantastic Four as well. If it is, it didn't hint to that in the trailer from what I can see, but I think it's a possibility. So in our last episode, Kevin made a joke about how there really isn't any feel-good World War II movies. And then it dawned on me after the episode that there is actually a feel-good World War II movie. It's one of my favorite films, Biloxi Blues. Biloxi Blues. I think that's a fun World War II movie because they don't actually go to war. It's just all about, the hijinks that they get into in boot camp.
Boot camp.
All right, so what are we drinking tonight, gentlemen? I'm gonna go first tonight. I think
You go first.
I very rarely go first. So I said last week that I already had a drink planned for this week since we were doing an Olympic episode. And Kev, you had said, so what are you drinking? A Jamaican bobsled? And I said something like that, but not quite. So what I am drinking tonight is actually called a Moscow bobsled. It is chocolate milk with a shot of vodka.
That sounds
all I can describe it as is it's like drinking chocolate milk that burns.
It's burning.
Chocolate milk with a burn on the end. And as an added treat, I'm eating a Valentine's Day brownie that Katie made. Her brownie recipe includes strawberry red wine in the mix, so it has a nice little strawberry wine taste to it.
Very nice.
Nice.
Kev, what you got going on?
So, I kind of dropped the ball, and then I thought, I could always do shots of tequila, but I still have to work tomorrow, and I had tequila silver, tequila gold, and I thought, hey, that would be good. But then I thought, no, I got to work tomorrow, and then Megan ran out, and she goes, well, we have Trogue's Dreamweaver for those who dream of getting into the Olympics, and those who even exceed the gold medal may also enjoy Bud Light Platinum. Right, Bud Light Platinum. But then my wife, the wonderful woman that she is, she did her research. She found something called, and this is delicious, by the way. This is called a Light the Torch, which is an homage to Muhammad Ali's Olympic torch moment. All right, and I'm just going to read to you a little bit from the creator, Deke Dune, bar director at Allegory in Washington, D.C.'s Eaton Hotel, explains that when I was 8 years old, I witnessed Muhammad Ali fight through Parkinson's disease and light the torch to start the Atlanta Olympic Games. It was humbling to see one of the greatest humans in modern history struggle, which made his actions that much more heroic. The cocktail is an ode to the greatest and an awe-inspiring moment he created. It consists of an ounce of bourbon, a half an ounce of fresh lime, a half an ounce of fresh lemon, and an ounce of simple syrup. And it's delicious.
Sounds good. I mean, it's all things I like.
Mm-hmm.
I like anything with bourbon, so.
Yeah.
So Mike, what do you got going on? I think Mike froze again.
Mike's frozen again.
I'm picking your nose.
Come back to us, Michael.
I don't know what's going on. When I hear you guys say Mike froze again, and I'm like, you guys look frozen to me. All right, I am drinking a Hefe Weiss beer that Leo got me for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Bavarian style beer. German
beer.
The Olympics.
So none of us went American tonight.
We're not doing that.
You got the Bud Light Platinum. So
I got my Bud Light Platinum right here.
Yeah.
I'm all set.
Nothing more American than Bud Light.
That's right. 6% water by volume.
It's obnoxious and tastes like piss. Must be American. So our main segment this evening is the Olympics on film. Cue the Olympic music here, I guess.
I actually hope you put some real Olympic music in.
I might just keep that as is. I don't have to look for it now when I edit it.
And that's definitely not trademarked or copyrighted. There are no rights to that. No one's going to want to lay claim to that.
So, Olympics on film. As we discuss these films, like I said again, they're all films that at least one of us has seen. We did not include any documentaries on this list because I honestly have not seen any documentaries on the Olympics. So, but as we talk about these films, I figured for those of us who've seen them, we can award it a bronze, silver, or gold medal for how good we think the film is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the first one I put on the list, personal favorite of mine.
Of course it is.
I know it's one that Mike's probably going to hate because Will Ferrell's in it.
I haven't seen it because Will Ferrell's in it.
It is Blades of Glory. Kev, have you seen Blades of Glory?
I have seen Blades of Glory. It was the only other film that the Napoleon Dynamite could get.
Yeah, John Heater's in it. Yeah, so Will Ferrell and John Heater play rival Olympic ice skaters, figure skaters. They get kicked out of the Olympics for life after getting into a fight on the ice that ends up lighting the Olympic mascot on fire. So they get kicked out for life, but then they find a loophole that states that they can continue to skate for the Olympics as a couples team. And there's no rules that say that the couples cannot be man-man. And so John Heater and Will Ferrell become a couples team and hilarity ensues.
That doesn't seem right though.
It's great. It's so funny because it is like they struggle to like how do you make it, look like two guys skating without it looking like, extra homosexual. And it's probably one of those movies that can't be made today. I love that Craig T. Nelson is their coach. And he tells them, there's one scene where they're practicing, and he's like, "We have to choose the song we're going to skate to." And Will Ferrell goes, "We're skating to one song and one song only, Lady Humps by the Black Eyed Peas." What you gonna do with all that junk? And John Heater's like, "I don't even know what that song means," and he goes, "Nobody knows what it means. That's why it's exotic." Then they have to do the difficult maneuver at the end to try to get the gold medal, and there's like a possibility he might cut his head off with the skates because how dangerous it is. Which leads to a classic Will Ferrell line: "I swear to God, if you cut my fucking head off." So I give it a gold medal because I like the movie. I think
enjoyed it.
It's enjoyable, silly,
but
fun.
It's silly humor, and I'll put it as a silver.
So it's a silver from the Russian judge, gold from the Americans. Next one is Chariots of Fire, which we have discussed before because I think we brought it up on the musical soundtrack episodes.
I think this is probably one that none of us has seen.
So
it has to be said because it's such iconic for the Olympics.
So if you go on Wikipedia and look up a movie, Wikipedia has an entire plot synopsis of the film.
Right.
So if it's a movie you haven't seen, you can always go on Wikipedia and read the plot. So I went on Wikipedia, I read the plot, and I'm like, okay, I mean, it seems like, it's based on a true story, so I'll check it out. So I found it on one of the streaming networks. I don't remember what one I found it on. It was probably the illegal one. And started watching it. And I'm like, you know what? If it wasn't for the song that came out of this film, I don't think anybody would have watched it
No.
or even known about it, because it is just a bland drama.
About two English runners.
About two English. Well, one of them is Jewish, and it's kind of like the anti-Semitism that he faces at the time and all, because it takes place in the early 1900s.
School ties all over again.
It's like School Ties, but about running instead of football.
Mm-hmm. But
so,
it won Best Picture.
It won Best. No, wait, did it? I know.
Oscar winner, Best Picture.
It did win for Best Picture. I think we talked about how it like robbed a movie that should have been Best Picture. I actually have the Oscar site up here right now, so let me look that up. Chariots of Fire.
Hence why we still should watch it. I mean, not watch it, talk about it on this list.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of like one of those ones, like it probably should be on there because, you know, it's kind of like it's a robbery if you didn't. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. It beat out Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, right.
Raiders of the Lost Ark lost out on Best Picture to Chariots of Fire. It's one of those things. Like that's the Oscars, man. That's just the Oscars for you.
Yeah.
Sometimes they get it right, like when they gave it to Return of the King.
Yeah, but they had no choice because they screwed the other two films out of it.
Well, I mean, like
Return of the King for all three movies.
Sometimes they give it to a film that, like, you know, everybody's seen, that it's a popular film, and that you kind of can't deny that it's, you know, the film that should win. But then every now and then they give it to a movie that, like, you know, two people have seen, and that's it. Like The English Patient, probably one of the worst Best Picture winners of all time. I was one of the two people who saw it, but you know. So I lost my place here. Where are we here? So Chariots of Fire is on there mainly for the song, I would say. So I don't think we can give it a vote because none of us have really seen it. So we'll be right to give it a vote. Although just based on a little bit of it that I watched, it's in bronze territory right now.
Was it better than the other Oscar-nominated movie you watched? The dog movie.
Only slightly better because it actually had a plot. Power of the Dog did not have a plot that I could recognize. Number 3 on their list. Next one on their list here is Miracle.
Very good movie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe in miracles? Do you believe in miracles?
Can't go wrong with Kurt Russell.
You can't go wrong. I love Kurt Russell. And it's you know, it's another film based on a true story about the 1980 American hockey team. And it's funny because, like, when you look back on the history of it now, and especially like that call that, you know, do you believe in miracles thing, most people think that it was because they beat the Russians for the gold when they still had another team they had to play after that.
They had one more.
I think it was either Finland or the Netherlands or something like that they played in the finals. But it's the fact that they beat Russia, because Russia was the favorite to win, because I think they had won like the last 3 or 4 Olympics in a row or something like that.
They were the juggernaut team, yeah.
Yeah, juggernaut team. So, and I remember, like, it was earlier in the film they play an exhibition against them before the Olympics where they lose by like 20 goals or something. Yeah. So we have Miracle on there. It's Kurt Russell, based on a true story. One of those feel-good movies. Now,
a side note, real quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Disney Plus earlier today looking up stuff, and there was an ESPN documentary called "Miracle of Men" or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Russian side of the story. I did not watch it.
It was called Miracle Denied.
Niet miracle.
You got Niet miracles. It was called "This is the bullshit of all the bullshits." So Miracle.
I thought they said that when they played the Flyers. And they didn't want to come back out.
Yeah. Bronze, silver, or gold?
I give it gold.
I give it gold.
I think I would give it a gold medal. It's a fun movie.
It's a feel-good movie.
Feel-good movie after just doing a whole episode of movies that are supposed to make you cry.
Yeah.
Next one on the list is The Cutting Edge.
Don't pick.
This is like, yeah, it's like when I brought it up, I think the first thing Adrian said was The Cutting Edge. The first thing my wife said was The Cutting Edge. When I said we were doing Olympic films.
Yes.
How about, does Megan ever seen Cutting Edge?
I don't think so. Megan, you ever seen Cutting Edge?
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's a must see for women.
It's a chick flick.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, it's definitely a chick flick. Now that being said, it's not a bad movie.
No,
it's not one that it's not like a go-to for me. But
Mm-mm.
I have seen it more than once, I would say.
but DB Sweeney is so
DB Sweeney.
dreamy.
Yeah, he had a hell of a career after that movie. Same for the actress. I don't even know her name.
Moira Kelly.
Moira Kelly. Wow.
Get any more Irish if you tried.
Was she on like one of your like early crush lists or something?
Yeah, I thought she was cute.
Bitch in the movie.
All I remember from the movie is he takes her out drinking one night and teaches her how to do tequila shots. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that part.
That's what happens when you take a hockey player.
Take the shot, lick the salt off your hand, and suck the lime or whatever it is. And I'm like, for the longest time, I thought that's how you actually had to drink tequila. I mean, because I was in like high school when I saw that movie. The Cutting Edge, yeah, it's definitely like it's a go-to for anybody who, has estrogen.
Yeah.
So what would you do? Bronze, silver, gold?
Bronze.
I would give it a silver. It's not like I said, it's not a go-to for me, but it's not one that I hate.
I'm gonna save face with Adrian and go silver.
take the less.
Oh, she know I would never go gold. So.
Next one I have here is I, Tonya.
I'm surprised you put this on the list, Leo.
I haven't seen it.
Huh? Oh, just the actresses and no name.
Yeah, it's Margot Robbie. Margot Robbie, Allison Janney won the Oscar for supporting actress for it for playing her mother. Sebastian Stan, best known as the Winter Soldier, plays Michael Luley, her boyfriend.
He's about to be Tommy Lee too.
Yeah. He likes that. He's going to make a career out of playing assholes with big dicks. So yeah, I saw it. It's a pretty good movie. It's kind of like, I don't know. It almost felt like they were defending Tonya a little bit in it. I mean, I don't know how much she really was behind having her boyfriend come out and bash Nancy Kerrigan with an iron, but I remember all the drama of that Olympics, man, with Tonya Harding and why? Yeah, when she runs up to the judges and cries about the skate, and it was a crazy, man. It was fucking insane.
Mm-hmm.
All I remember from that Olympics too is that Nancy Kerrigan was supposed to win the gold. Like everybody knew Nancy Kerrigan was going to win the gold.
Right.
So much so that they were already ready to film the Disney commercial. Like, you just won the gold medal. What are you going to do next? Go into Disney World thing. And then Oksana Bayul won the gold medal that year. And they had to redo the commercial. And I'll never forget, it said, Nancy Kerrigan, you just finished winning the hearts of America. What are you going to do next? Which has nothing to do with the movie, but
Yeah, no.
It's just the kind of stuff I remember about it. Great performance from Margot Robbie, who is definitely more than just a pretty face, man. I mean, I know she's hot, and she's been in some roles like Wolf of Wall Street and Harley Quinn and all that showcase her beauty, but she's actually a pretty decent actress. And Allison Janney was amazing in it. So I would give this one a gold medal just because it is a deservedly award-winning film. Have either of you seen it?
I have not.
Yeah, I know Mike hasn't. You saw it though, Kev, right?
I did.
Yeah. Next one is a much different one. Well, not too much different from I, Tonya.
Much darker.
But a much darker tone than some of the earlier films we talked about, Foxcatcher. It's the story of John DuPont, who was the heir of the DuPont, pharmaceuticals and the heir to that fortune. And he had an obsession with Olympic wrestling and started his own wrestling team, which in the film, his wrestlers are played by Mark Ruffalo and Channing Tatum, who are brothers. And it's the story of how he kind of loses his mind and kills, shoots the character that Mark Ruffalo plays. He shoots him at the end and kills him. Big story in the news back when that happened.
Yeah.
And a really, really different role for Steve Carell. It was probably the first role he played where he wasn't playing a comedic role.
Right.
A major dramatic role for him. They even went so far as like use prosthetics to change his face a little bit, make him look more like John DuPont. Strange film, haunting performance from Steve Carell. Another like very like out there kind of film. Kev, have you seen this one?
I have not.
I have not either.
Yeah, I would say check it out. It's a interesting film. If anything, it's interesting just to watch Steve Carell because he's kind of mesmerizing in the performance, even though he's playing somebody who's completely deranged. So I would give that one a gold medal, just as being the only one who saw it. Next one I have on here is Munich.
This one I did see.
I've been trying to watch this one, but it's not free anywhere.
Yes, it is.
Well,
it is easily a movie that could have been on the most depressing list as well.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
the subject matter by itself.
I mean, the subject matter alone is pretty well known. So even if you haven't seen the film, you kind of know what's behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the movie itself focuses less on the death of this Israeli athletes as it does on the men who were hired to kill the terrorists who killed the athletes. So it's like their story. I mean, it's a brutal film. It's really well acted. It's one of like Steven Spielberg's lesser known ones, I would think, because it got award consideration, but I don't think it made a lot of money in the box office. It is a really dark film. It's probably, despite how dark Schindler's List and Saving Private Ryan were, this is probably extra dark, like even darker than those. I mean, it's pretty intense subject matter, but it's a really well acted film. So I would give that a gold medal.
Okay. It's on my list to watch.
I would give it a gold.
Yeah. What were you saying, Mike?
That's on my list to watch.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out.
Mm-hmm.
Next one on the list. I think all three of us have seen this one, haven't we?
Yeah, man.
Cool Runnings.
Feel the rhythm.
Feel the rhythm, man. I just
bobsled time.
The first thing that pops in my head is the image of them sitting in the bathtub, practicing, getting into the position together and going back and forth and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a movie that I feel like it doesn't get talked about enough anymore because it's an older film.
Well, it should now since Jamaica's back.
Yeah, I think with Jamaica being back in the bobsledding competition, I think it's got a little bit more attention now. But it's like it's funny. It's a movie that like it was a box office hit, but wasn't like expected to be. I think
it was based on a true story.
It is based on a true story. I mean, it's obviously embellished a little bit and played for the comedic effect.
Suggested based on a true story.
Yeah, and adjusted based on true story. Yeah. So you have stars John Candy as the coach. Dougie Doug is one of the. I love his name. The character's name.
Thank you, Coffee.
Thank you, Coffee.
So wait, it's based on a true story, kind of like The Greatest Showman, right?
Yeah, kind of like The Greatest Showman. Yeah. I like. So yeah, Sanka Coffee. You have another guy whose name is Yul Brenner. So I mean, like, yeah, it's definitely like played for the comedic effect, but it's a really fun movie. Another one, it's like kind of like a feel good movie, and it's a quick watch, man. It's only like an hour and a half.
Yeah. I'm sure it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's on Disney. It is on Disney Plus now. I saw it.
It's a Disney movie.
I came across it earlier when I was on Disney Plus. I think it was when I watched the last episode of Boba Fett. I noticed that it was on there. So yeah, it's definitely a movie that I would say if you haven't seen it before and you want to watch something that's fun and feel good and you don't have to think about too much and just looking for something that's like a quick watch. Cool Runnings is definitely up there for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
I would give that one a gold medal as well.
That's a gold medal.
Gold medal. That's definitely a gold medal.
Next one, it's not going to be a gold medal.
The Ringer.
Next one is called The Ringer. Stars Johnny Knoxville, right off the bat, you know it's not going to be a gold medal.
And I probably haven't seen it.
I don't know if you want to see it. It's a pretty offensive movie.
I'm not a big Johnny Knoxville fan either.
It's a pretty offensive movie. He plays a man who pretends to be special needs so that he can compete in the Special Olympics, thinking that it'll be easier for him to win because he's not special needs, only to find out that the special needs athletes really are athletes. You know, he grows to like them, and you know, they find out at the end that he's not really special needs, and yada yada. They find a way to kind of make him look like a hero at the end anyway. But I mean, it's really offensive. Like just the
I'm offended just listening to you.
Just so like the funny thing is the co-star is Brian Cox, who's like a pretty prestigious actor. I mean, he was in X-Men 2. He played what's his name? The guy that created Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Stryker.
Stryker. So he was the original Stryker in X2. He was in Red with Bruce Willis. He was in a million. Guy's in a million movies. He's on that show Succession on HBO.
Right.
So he's like a pretty prestigious actor, and he's in it. He plays Johnny Knoxville's uncle, who owes money to the mob because he was betting on the Olympic Games and lost real big. And so it's like his idea for Johnny Knoxville to join the Special Olympics because he was a championship runner back in the day. And it's the best thing about it is that there are some actors in the film who are special needs. Like there's an actor who's a Down syndrome actor.
Okay.
And the nicest thing I could say about it is he's actually a better actor than Johnny Knoxville.
That really ain't saying much.
I'm not going to give this one any medals. I feel like it has fallen out of medal contention.
Yeah.
For being just.
It didn't make the podium.
It didn't make the podium for being one of the single most offensive films I've ever seen.
It barely made the list.
And it's funny because it was made in the 2000s. So it was kind of like made in the era of you can't make movies like this anymore.
Yeah, 2005.
And somehow it got made.
Because they're still making Jackass. That's why.
Yeah, well, he still is a jackass. The next one on the list is one of like the very first Olympic films of all time, Jim Thorpe, All American. This is a really old one. I don't know how many people might have seen this. Have either of you seen this?
Nope.
9.
So Jim Thorpe, All American, stars Burt Lancaster. I'm trying to bring it up here, but it just keeps bringing Jim Thorpe himself up.
Charles Bickford.
Here we go. Jim Thorpe, All American.
On IMDb.
Yes, it came out in 1951. Stars Burt Lancaster. The tagline is "He wore America's hearts over his." Everyone's hero, one man's idol, or one woman's idol, and entertainment as glorious as the grand Gaia glorifies. God, I love those old taglines from this 50s.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like the whole movie in one line. Burt Lancaster plays Jim Thorpe, who of course was like this all-around, amazing athlete in the early 1900s, 1920s. And it's the triumph and tragedy of Jim Thorpe, who, after winning both the pentathlon and decathlon in the Olympics, was stripped of his medals on a technicality. So I can't remember what the reason was, but he was the gold medal winner in both of those, which are two of the most difficult things to compete in. They stripped him of the medals, and they weren't given back to him. I think they rescinded the decision and returned the medals to him in 1983, which was 30 years after he died. It was one of those crazy stories like that. But Jim Thorpe is, one of the original, Olympic heroes. And this movie glorifies that, story about his life. If you're into old films, or if you like Burt Lancaster, or if you like, those feel-good films of the 50s, it's a film worth checking out. I am not going to give it a medal just because it's an older film. I would like to have people check it out first before we try to give it a medal.
Are you trying to say you're rescinding the medal?
Yes. We'll give it back to him in 30 years. Next one on the list is Forrest Gump.
Ping pong.
Ping pong, Olympic ping pong. That's probably the only real, connection that has to the Olympics.
It is.
I know.
I'm probably one of those people who like Forrest Gump less than most people do. I'm not a big fan of Forrest Gump.
Okay.
I've seen it more than once. I think it's a funny film. It's got some fun
long
moments.
movie.
It's a long movie. Tom Hanks is great in it, of course. But I feel like it was an overhyped film. And I don't know if it's really like stood the test of time. If it's like as good as it was when it first came out. It also beat Shawshank Redemption for Best Picture.
You're just holding a grudge.
And I'm kind of holding a grudge because I feel like Shawshank Redemption has had much longer shelf life than Forrest Gump has. You don't see Forrest Gump being played on a 24-hour loop on TBS.
But you find it on TV quite a bit, though. Forrest Gump.
Yeah, occasionally here and there.
Hey, and Forrest Gump has his own set of restaurants out there.
Bubba Gump.
Bubba Gump Shrimp.
And Forrest Gump's got Tom Hanks, who is Hollywood's golden boy. Where is Tim Robbins?
Really? Still making movies, still directing films. Married to Susan Sarandon.
But is he Tom Hanks?
Is he Tom Hanks?
Is he Tom Hanks?
Not many of us can be Tom Hanks.
I know of at least one person who can be.
Who? Tom Hanks? Yeah. The only person who could play Tom Hanks? Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Unless you want his son, Colin Hanks, to play him because he looks and sounds a lot like his father.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Do you know who was supposed to play Forrest Gump originally? Or who was offered the role before Tom Hanks?
Tom Cruise?
John Travolta.
John Travolta.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Talk about it.
You imagine John Travolta as Forrest Gump.
No. I don't think it would have done as good as it did.
Stupid is as stupid does.
Do you know, or here's another little fun fact about Forrest Gump for you. The way that he talks and his mannerisms and all that, they were not an original idea from Tom Hanks. The little kid that plays young Forrest, that's how he actually talks.
Right.
And so I see dead people. Oh,
yeah. Wrong kid.
Not Baby First. Not
Baby First. Not Haley Joel Osment. The kid that plays Forrest as a boy.
Oh.
Yep.
That's how he actually talked. And so Tom Hanks like emulated his speech patterns for the character.
Yep.
So you can thank him for that. So I'm looking here because I know that there were other interesting actors. Excuse me, who were supposed to be playing it before him. I definitely know.
See that, everybody?
Here we go. Bill Murray. Bill Murray. John Travolta. Chevy Chase. I can't imagine Chevy Chase doing it either. I feel like he would turn Forrest Gump into like an asshole who is sarcastic with everyone.
You mean he turned him into Chevy Chase?
He turned him into Chevy Chase. Bill Paxton was another one. I think Bill Paxton probably could have did it.
Yeah, I think he could have done it.
He was actually, it says he was Zemeckis' first choice. And John Goodman was also considered for it. It's when a movie like that comes out where you have a director like Zemeckis who has his run with things like Back to the Future and all that, the studios will always go to like that first list of A-listers,
right?
Before they come up with a consideration that would actually work. And Tom Hanks was just coming off the Oscar win for Philadelphia.
Yep.
And became one of the few actors to win 2 Oscars in a row. And so like he was kind of like one of like the lower choices when you think about it, which is crazy when you think about Tom Hanks now.
Well, consider that was really his second really serious role.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even all that serious.
He played it serious.
Yeah, but I mean, like it was sort of comedic how he played it. And it's funny, is like after that film, Tom Hanks became one of those names that's on that list of names that everybody goes for.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Bill Murray, John Travolta, Tom Hanks, Chevy Chase. But still, I'm gonna be an asshole and give it a silver. Because it's a good movie. It's not a great movie, I don't think. And it really the only Olympic tie to it is the ping pong thing. So
yeah, I think I got to give it a bronze because it seriously is a whole 2 minutes of Olympic. Right.
He does beat the Chinese team.
I think Mike's frozen again.
Yeah, Mike's frozen again. He is.
What the hell's going on here?
We're struggling tonight, man.
We are.
What was the one who glitched? The glitch in
Wreck-It Ralph was Vanellope.
Vanellope.
Little girl. Yeah. It's the glitch. Eddie the Eagle is the last one we have on this list, and I'm gonna turn
it. Get my medal.
What?
My medal for Forrest.
What's your medal for Forrest?
I'm gonna go silver because it doesn't have that much of the. It's a great movie. So it's better than bronze, but if it was about the movie itself, it would be gold. But silver because we're talking about the Olympics.
That was where I was at. If we're talking about the movie in its entirety, I can give it a higher score. But
I'm just giving it a silver because I'm bitter that it beat Shawshank for Best Picture.
Oh.
Eddie the Eagle. I'm going to turn this over to you, Kev, because I have not seen. It's one of those rare films that I have not seen.
You didn't miss much. I think the consensus here is that movies about the Olympics are just not that entertaining. So this is. Are
you trying to say Me Frozen's a better watch?
It's a short movie. It's about an hour 46 minutes. It's got Taron Egerton. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes, you did. He is from the Kingsman films and the Rocket Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talented actor. He does a good job in this movie portraying. The whole name is Eddie. Why can't I think of his whole name? Eddie Edwards. So right off the bat, you kind of have to fault his parents for naming him Eddie Edwards.
Edwards.
Edwards. He convinces an Olympic coach. Now he is the only one who chooses to compete in the long jump for England in the 1988 Winter Olympics. Okay. So needless to say, he qualifies because he is the only one who goes out for the position. And because he is the only one going for this sport, he gets a certain fandom, but he is an odd character. You know, he's the geek, he's the dork. And he continues to pursue it despite so many people telling him you can't do it, you don't have the talent to do it. You know, the only reason why you got it is through default.
Like default, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of the struggle that he faces between a rough manager played by Hugh Jackman, and others who kind of just don't have faith in him, not his parents, not his he has fans, but he's a fan because he's an enigma. He's being laughed at or cheered, laughed at, not laughed with. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a depressing movie in that regards, and we should have added it last week.
I'm looking at the cast list here, and like aside from Taron Egerton and Hugh Jackman, I don't know anyone else on this cast. Like it's a very
yeah.
I guess they spent most of the budget on Jackman.
Pretty much.
Does he end up winning the gold?
No, I don't think he ends up winning the gold.
Because I know, like he becomes pretty famous after the 88 Olympics, but I didn't really know a lot about the story. So
no, I don't think he. I mean, he successfully does the long jump. I think that's the thing. Mm-hmm. He struggled so often, and he had so many complications with other people he was competing against. The success came from he continued to try despite the roadblocks, the hurdles in his way. You know what I'm saying? He continued, and he did qualify. He placed. I can't tell you where he placed. I don't think he placed in gold. So,
okay, I might check that out at some point though, just because it sounds like an interesting story.
Yeah,
I do remember from the trailer for it. There's a scene where he's like getting ready to do a jump, and he says to like Hugh Jackman something like, "Any last minute advice?" And Hugh Jackman responds with, "Don't die." And then I got a bonus one on there for us. Disney's The Olympic Champ starring Goofy.
that's gold medal contender right there.
That is one of the old, like original, goofy shorts that, where he's like competing in every single Olympic event.
Yep.
One of those like old Disney things. It's kind of like the documentary where like Goofy is the subject of the documentary. And you can't go a long time ago. You can't go wrong with Goofy. The Olympic champ.
Gold medal right there.
Here it is. The Olympic champ Goofy. It was 1942. Narrator explains the history of the Olympic Games while Goofy demonstrates the events. And they did a whole bunch of these back in the day where like this guy was narrating the film and Goofy starred in it because he did how to fish, how to play football, how to swim, double dribble, which is about basketball, and this one, the Olympic champ. And he basically goes through all different like time periods in history from the original Greek Olympic Games to the modern day Olympics and demonstrates all the events for us as only Goofy can. And there is always the occasional in the cartoon as well. Gosh. So that is a gold medal by default. So like I said, anybody out there listening to us, this was a rather short list we had tonight because there aren't too many really good Olympic films out there that are not really documentaries, and we're not going to cover documentaries on this. So what we have there is just a pretty short list of some Olympic films that we've seen, or at least one of us has seen. And what I'm going to do now is just kind of change the subject a little bit, because speaking of gold, we have the Academy Awards coming up soon. I think it's actually the end of March 27th. They'll be having the 94th Academy Awards, and there's some surprises and some that are not as surprising. If you've listened to some of our older episodes, I kind of brought this up already. So they're doing the 10 movie thing again for Best Picture. I kind of wish they would go back to just 5 movies. I kind of feel like when you're doing the 10, it's kind of like you're throwing movies in there to make people happy, but you know they're really not going to win. It's kind of like just throwing them in there to make them happy. So we have Belfast, Coda, Don't Look Up, Drive My Car, Dune, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, and West Side Story. So I've been trying to go through this list and try to see as many as I can. So I've seen Dune. I saw Nightmare Alley recently. I saw Power of the Dog recently. I still haven't seen West Side Story. I'm not sure I'm going to get to some of the other ones. I saw Don't Look Up. Of the few that I've seen so far, Don't Look Up, Dune, Nightmare Alley, Power of the Dog. Dune is by far my favorite, but Dune is not going to win the Best Picture.
No, it's a sci-fi movie.
It's a sci-fi movie. It's kind of got nominated because of its popularity and its cinematography and things like that. And oddly enough, the director did not get nominated, Denis Villeneuve, and he probably should have been nominated. All the stuff that I'm reading says that the Power of the Dog right now is the front runner for winning Best Picture. I just watched it recently and fell asleep about halfway through it. Woke up and it didn't really matter that I fell asleep through it because there was no plot anyway.
Just for your information, Lee, West Side Story will hit Disney Plus and HBO Max on March 2nd.
Okay, so I'll be able to catch that one soon. Now the rest of them, I want to see Belfast because it's written and directed by Kenneth Branagh, and I typically like stuff that he does. And it's supposed to be like a semi-autobiographical story about growing up in Belfast, like his childhood. So I want to check that one out. CODA stands for Child of Deaf Adults. So it's a story of a girl who's
for that. That looked pretty good.
It looked pretty good. I actually just recently listened to a review of it on one of the podcasts I listened to, and it sounded pretty interesting. Don't Look Up. I hated it. I didn't think it was anywhere near.
Hate it, but I mean, I wasn't bowled over by it.
Yeah, it was nowhere near as entertaining as I thought it was going to be. Drive My Car is a Japanese film. That's all I know about it. I really know nothing else about it. King Richard is the story of the Williams sisters' father, Richard Williams, and played by Will Smith. Licorice Pizza is a indie film directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, who did Boogie Nights, and it stars
Cooper
Hoffman, who is Philip Hoffman's son. Yeah. I saw Nightmare Alley. It was boring. I saw Power of the Dog. That was boring. I don't use the word boring lightly when I describe a film. I tend to try to give a film the benefit of the doubt, but those two films bored the shit out of me. And that's saying something considering how many films I watch. Actors nominated this year: Javier Bardem for being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch for Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield for Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith for King Richard, and Denzel Washington for The Tragedy of Macbeth. Now, if I had my choice, Andrew Garfield would win because Tick, Tick, Boom was an awesome movie. He was amazing in it. He did a lot of training to be able to sing in it because it's a musical. And I really, really enjoyed that movie. I have a feeling, though, it's probably going to go to Benedict Cumberbatch because that Power of the Dog film is getting a lot of play. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it went to Will Smith, because I kind of feel like it's one of those like political things. Like he's been nominated, hasn't won yet. It's kind of almost like a lifetime achievement kind of nomination at that point. And then actresses this year: Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter, Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers, Nicole Kidman for being the Ricardos, and Kristen Stewart for Spencer, in which she plays Princess Diana. I have not seen any of these films, and only like maybe 3 of them have I actually heard of. And so I am going to say it's probably going to be Jessica Chastain for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. She plays Tammy Faye Baker. That being said, I have a feeling Power of the Dog is going to be the Best Picture winner because I said to Mike the other day, it's just pretentious enough for the Oscar to vote for it. It's not like it's a popular film. It's just, it's one of those art house films that they love to vote on. I got a picture sent to me here from Kevin. When your childhood crush is still your crush now. Yep. And it's a picture of Christina Ricci. Who at this point is, I think, our age. I think she's like in her 40s. Yeah. It looks pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a crush on Wednesday Addams too, because we were probably about the same age when that movie came out, right?
Yep.
Same age as Christina Ricci, I mean.
Yep. So it's all kosher.
It's all kosher, yeah. Did you ever see Black Snake Moon?
Didn't see that one, no.
Oh, you should check out Black Snake Moon.
Yeah.
You have a crush on Christina Ricci. Stars her and Samuel L. Jackson.
I will check it out.
Yeah. It's not a great movie, but it'll confirm your crush. Let's just put it that way. So that's just my little talk about the Oscars there. I was going to do a mini pod on that, but I figured with this being as short an episode as it's probably going to be, I'll just throw a little thing in there about it tonight. So that's it for this program this week, episode 49, Olympic Gold. Next week, very, very special episode. It is episode 50.
Oh, boy.
We have officially reached the half-century mark. We have reached an episode that is a milestone episode, episode 50. So for next week, we're going to do a very special topic in honor of it being our 50th episode. We're going to do what we're calling the Mount Rushmore Awards Each of us is going to choose 4 pictures, 4 actors, 4 actresses, and 4 directors that we would put on our Mount Rushmore for those topics. So if we had to create a Mount Rushmore of directors, who would be the 4 directors we would put on that mountain? And that is going to be our special episode 50 topic. And the extra bonus to that is we are not going to tell each other what our choices are until the recording of that episode. Ooh. So a little mystery involved there. Normally we pre-plan these things, but we're going to try to wing it next week and see how it goes.
What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? I don't know. I'm hoping things go wrong. It's more fun when things go wrong. You know, a lot more fun when there's a lot more huge beavers involved. So how did you like your drinks tonight, gentlemen?
Mine was excellent.
Good.
So that was a good beer I got you there, Mike.
I'm on my second already.
All right, that's good. I know Mike loves those German beers. And when I saw that one in I think I got it at the wine warehouse near my house. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get this for Mike. It's something I think he'll like. And then Kev, for the second week in a row, you have a drink that I want to try out.
Yeah.
I told you I had one of the Suffering Bastards the other night, and it was really good.
Yeah. Very good.
I tell you, I really, really like the Adios motherfucker that I drank last week, but I have to recover from the last time I drank it. I'm not sure. I did finish my my Russian bobsled. I'm not sure how much I like vodka in my chocolate milk.
I enjoyed my Light the Torch, and it went down too easy, in fact, that I had to go into the Dreamweaver.
Yeah, to lighten it up a little bit.
Not touch the platinum.
No platinum tonight. I might have another one of these, but I might hold the vodka and just have some more chocolate milk. Chocolate milk shouldn't burn going on the way down.
No.
So once again, everybody, make sure you drop us a line at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com. Visit us on Instagram at filmsandfermentation, facebook.com/filmsandfermentation, or check out our website, filmsandfermentation.weebly.com. Whew, that's a mouthful right there. Thank you for joining us again at the crossroads of Pickled and Fermented. I got it right this time, Mike.
You're sober.
I'm not hammered enough to fuck it up this time. I'm Leo.
Kevin.
I'm Mike.
We hope you enjoyed listening to the episode as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Cheers, everybody, and make sure you tune in for episode 50 in a couple weeks. See y'all later.
Weeks?
Well, because we got this episode this week and then episode next week, so it's a couple weeks. We got episode 49 coming up first. You got to do that before we do episode 50.
But if they're listening to 49, it's only next week.
Well, it'll be 2 weeks because this drops on Monday. And then we got to record
for us.
50,
but when they're listening to this part of it, they've already been through the week. So
and if they listen to it late, then they have to go back in time.
Whatever. I don't math well. So all right.